Boom! Welcome back. Another week. Vlog 12 on new plan. And I believe, this is weird. I think I missed a week somewhere. Never mind. Anyway, I just look on my training plan and how it coincides with my training vlogs, and I think I might have missed one vlog, or it could have been whilst I was away, to be honest. So today I'm going to answer some questions, and I'm going to dig into what I'm actually doing because it's been a rough week. Weigh in as usual, just around 116 kilos, 115.6 has been my lowest this week. It's quite annoying. I don't know how people do this fucking weighing every single day. It's just, but like I said, I usually have very, very, very large meal before I leave home, and at least 3 liters of fluid in me. So by the time I train, I'm around 120 kilos, which is fairly challenging. But I track everything I do, and my average heart rate on my training sessions is going down, and most importantly, my ability to go from excited to completely calm within a session is improving drastically, which is great. So that's what I need. And I'm gonna get through questions first, and then I'm gonna dig into what's happening with my supplements, what's happening with my food, what's happening with my training, and I also did blood tests, so I'm gonna discuss that at the end. Unless you already are in my client circle, which I shared just with my clients already. So, first question: do you have to do to 10,000 steps a day? Well, you don't need to do anything. Let's be honest. If you value your health and if you want to be somewhat kind of, how can I even rephrase this? There is definite evidence that 10,000 steps a day is increasing your ability to stay healthy. The fact that it's only 10,000 steps, it's quite disturbing because, let's be honest, that's not a hell of a lot of steps. That's like a few kilometers. It's not a lot. It really isn't. 40-minute walk will give you on average 5,000-6,000 steps, depending on your stride length, obviously. So if you can't find through the day an hour and a half of actively moving, it's sad. It really is. But nevertheless, moving is extremely important for your health. So I usually kind of talk to people who tell me, but I got family and I got kids and I got this and I got that. Flipping amazing. Get your kids out for a walk. When was the last time you went out for a walk with a kid and talked to them about just random stuff, about how bloody sun rises and sets and those kind of things? Get a dog, get a pet, hang out with your friends. It not only gives you health benefits in terms of physical health, it also gives you a mental break of everything. This is why I'm very heavy on advocating everyone. If you can go out for a walk early in the day, do that. Unless you work like 6 o'clock in the morning, you're not going to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning just to go for a walk. So that's kind of counterproductive. But the thing is, reality of our very fast-paced lifestyle is that we never spend time with ourselves anymore. If you wake up and first thing what you do is switch on news, you're going to feel miserable for the rest of the day. Like, last thing what I would like to do is wake up and listen to some kind of bollocks about world falling apart. This just it ruins your day. Like, why would you do that? Same as your walks. So 10,000 steps, do less, do more, whatever the hell you can do. But realize that the more you move, the more physically fitter you're going to get and the more energy you'll have. Body packs in when you stop using it. It's as simple as that. And it's just proof in the pudding that everyone who is in their later age, who moves a lot, they will be very, long-lived, so to speak. So, and I'm guessing that's one of the reasons why everyone in my family lives very long, because they all are very physically active. Not in terms of weightlifting and whatnot. I'm only meathead in my head. In my family, no one else bloody lifts weights. But they cycle, they walk, they have their little gardens and things like that. And lo and behold, they live way beyond 70, 80, 90 years of age. So you want it or not, as much as you want to make an excuse in your head, I don't have time for this, well, probably you shouldn't be listening to me then. Because I can get 10,000 steps a day just by hanging out with my friends. Never mind going out for a walk. So I think it's massively undervalued how big of a health and longevity, not only in physical but mental capacity, walking actually is. So do you have to do? Nothing forces you to do anything. But if you want to stay fit, healthy, and prolong your ability to do things you really enjoy, find a time. Not for the sake of walking and getting steps in, but for the sake of calming your head and spending some time with yourself, figuring things out. Many people I have spoken to have had the brightest ideas on how to upskill themselves, how to make their business grow, how to improve their relationships, and so on and so forth, during walks, during runs, during things that they are just drifting away. Take it as some kind of meditation, which is a very powerful tool to just be in present at the moment. So, do you have to do it? No. Is it useful? Hell yes. Second, can alcohol be incorporated in any training plan? And yeah, okay. So alcohol is probably the biggest detriment to day-to-day life when you compare Britain to any other parts of Europe. So where I come from, you don't come home to drink beer. In UK, it's very popular, so it's just lifestyle. You go out and hang out with your friends in a pub and have a couple of beers and this and that. But that's probably why UK is one of the most obese countries, so to speak. Because alcohol is empty calories to begin with. It disrupts your sleep. Even though you feel like you are sleeping more and you fall asleep better and whatnot, the sleep is majorly disrupted, so you don't really get REM sleep, which helps you improve your skills altogether. And alcohol calories are just that, empty calories without any nutrients and anything that's useful for you. The reason why alcohol-related fatty liver is a thing, and when you mess that part up, everything else, any other process in your body becomes stale. So if you want to be at your best and want to drink every single day, good news for you, you won't. You might be doing whatever the hell you want, you're never gonna get best results out of you. And I understand it's a very powerful habit for a lot of people. It calms you down. You have these things and you open a cold beer and you just sit down and chill. I was lucky that no one in my family really drank. So I was never raised in that kind of environment. At the same time, I did go out drink, and I sometimes went out on a bloody Wednesday, come back on Sunday, only because I wanted to be a part of the group. And I have had quite a lot of luck of being surrounded with people who realize that that's not what I want to do. Literally, one night after being out in a nightclub, absolutely off my head, in the morning, sitting in my little place with my friends, another friend rang me and asked me, how are you doing? And we had a short conversation, and the conversation ended up with a question, are you happy? Because I don't think you're doing what you really want to do. That was last day, I was drunk. That was last day, I was off my head. And I had no interest since. I just realized I'm wasting my time on people that I cannot relate to, only because of the stupid fear that, you know what, if I don't hang out with these guys, I might not hang out with anyone because I don't really know anyone. And I just thought, you know what, I'd rather be on my own and do my own stuff, and instead of wasting my time. So, and that was it, and I'm happier for it. And I don't have anything against alcohol. You do whatever the hell you want, but just realize to be at your best, you won't be able to do that. When you look on even amateur strongmen, for example, now, yes, they'll have a beer or two and whatnot, but they won't be drinking every bloody night, which is a very strong habit for example, in Britain, that you come home, you have a meal, you have a pint, and you go to bed or whatever the hell you want. Most of the time, you need to understand that what you are looking for with this kind of question is actually trying to find an excuse for not doing things that you should be doing at 100% commitment. Yeah, but I don't want to give up on this because I really enjoy this, blah, blah, blah. Do you really enjoy it, or is it something that kind of triggers habits down the line that, yeah, if you have a pint, you'll relax and you feel great for it. There's no question about it. If you do it, there's something that makes you feel good about it. But most of the time, you can actually find something else that is more productive, more encouraging you to kind of upskill yourself and improve your life. And imagine how much bloody money you're going to save. Buy chicken fillet. Now, do whatever the hell you want, but just realize that alcohol is not something that goes hand in hand with elite level athleticism, health, and all those kind of things. But if you think you can get away with it, yeah, do it. Just don't make it as an excuse why you haven't achieved some kind of results that you were expecting to. And if you have a habit of drinking it every single day, you probably need help. Moving on. How important is to follow workout order? Probably isn't if you haven't got a decent plan. If you have just some random crap copied out of any kind of Google search, then probably useless. If you work with someone like myself, for example, yes, every single day is planned, so it's succession of previous day. It is quite important. And I would rather you skip a day of training than mix and match training sessions, because they have been adjusted in a way that you recover from certain body part or certain skill set or certain type of damage you inflict on your body whilst doing completely different thing. So goal needs to be clear. What are you trying to achieve? If you're just going to gym to hang out and have fun, and you don't need to follow anything. You just go and lift random stuff and you be happy for it. But if you have someone who's planning your stuff, or if you are advanced enough to understand how to program you for yourself, then yeah, you're better off following the sequencing, not only workouts but exercises as well. If you can't stick to that, maybe it's time to just sit back and reassess what's realistic, what you can actually do, instead of messing about and jumping from one thing to another. And as long as I get my sets and reps done this week, no, that's not how it works. You know, there is a certain way of how you put a car engine together. You can't just put one bolt there, another bolt there, and then something like that. Human body is even more sophisticated than bloody engines. So things you do in a certain way, in a certain order, matter quite a lot. And if you can't follow that, then reassess what's more realistic rather than jumping from one side to another. Next one. How important is to hit calorie needs for a day? Probably nowhere near important. I actually made a video about this before I even read this question. And calories matter for weight loss. Dig it in your head that if you have 50 bricks, you can only use 50 bricks to build a house. You know, you won't have more than 50 bricks. And but where different lies is what kind of food you have. Is that brick strengthened so you can actually tolerate a load on top of it when you do add something else to your house? Or is it just bloody brick made from sand and water and it's just going to fall apart? This is where calories are just bloody useless measurement for performance, health, and everything else. I'm outlier because when I train for hypertrophy, I need to eat hell of a lot of food because I overtrain and I train way too often than I should, and so on and so forth. Plus I have ridiculous amount of physical activity through the day. So calories, if I was to count calories and follow all the guidelines, I would just lose weight because those numbers just don't match. But in terms of hitting your calories every single day is counterproductive because sometimes people get obsessed with it and just cause a lot of stress, and that suppresses their appetites, and they end up force feeding themselves. And then because they're trying to catch up calories instead of food quality, they start eating garbage. That leads to inevitably impairing their sleep, and inevitably impairing their recovery. Then after that, you make even worse food choices. Sometimes you overeat way too much at night. You wake up next morning, you still don't want to eat, so you need to catch up again and again and again, and then you end up in a never-ending circle. Start hating your life, start hating your training, start hating your nutrition, start hating everything, everyone. And you see hell of a lot of times in a gym that people just overdo with things, thinking that they're doing themselves good. And like Broderick always says, you will know when you need to deload. But let's be honest, all of us are such assholes. We don't want to take deload. We don't want to take anything, any time off from training. Same with food. You will know when you have had too much and you need to give your digestive system break, but we don't do it because we're afraid, because we think we're gonna lose all the muscle and this and that, but that's not gonna happen. And most of you will lose weight. I will lose weight, and you will lose weight, and it's inflammation, it's glycogen, it's water retention, all those kind of things. And if you are obsessed about weighing same exact number or more every single day, get off those bloody scales and reassess your life choices, because number on scales is absolutely nothing. And I can even relate to my training, because I always get to like week 5, 6, 7 of my course, and I kind of train. I'm able to train non-stop, so I need to pull myself back, and I rarely do. That's why by the end of my course, I usually end up growing, because that's when I pull back on my frequency of training, improve my sleep, improve my digestion, everything else that I actually should be doing whilst I'm kind of building up. Hope it helps, but stop focusing on calories. Stop force feeding yourself. Stop doing all the nonsense that you shouldn't be doing. It can be seamless. Like literally, most of the people I work with, if I want to get them ridiculously big, I will increase their food intake by 30 calories a week. 30. Not 300, not 3,000, nothing else. I'll ask them what they're doing now, reassess everything, improve food quality, improve ability to stick to certain times of eating and whatnot, and then add 30 calories, which is like nothing. One bite of an apple. That's it. Extra a week. And you can gain a hell of a lot of weight within a year. Just need to be patient. Training to failure. How important is training to failure? It really isn't nowhere near as important in anything else apart from bodybuilding. So in bodybuilding, you need to get as close to failure as you can. That's definitely improving your ability to get hypermuscular quicker. But if your recovery is garbage, if you don't drink enough fluids, if your food is coming from McDonald's, KFC, and what else not, you're just wasting your time. So training to failure definitely is not advisable for anyone who's training for strength or performance, or in a training sessions that you do kind of skill-based workouts. You don't want to do, for example, box jumps until you fail. It's just daft. And even when you train for hypertrophy reasons, you need to understand the failure of doing a movement and mechanical failure of not being able to flex that muscle are two very different things. People more often than not just don't have any kind of understanding what mechanical failure actually looks like, and they just work through their sets, through their reps, start swinging about. And for example, on leg press, I see all the time they just lift their ass off the bench and whatnot. On dumbbell presses, any kind of presses, I start doing like 3/4 of reps. Well, if you're lucky, then usually 1/4 of rep from the first ever rep. And you're like, dude, you have these elbow sleeves, wrist wraps, all these things to lift heavier, and you can't even do a single rep properly. Just what on earth? Don't do that. So yeah, training to failure is more important for hypertrophy reasons only, but understands that mixing that in any kind of skill-based work or strength-based work where people come in a gym and say like, oh, I want to bench 5 plates, and every single training session they bench 4 plates to get to 5, you're not going to get strong. You're really not going to get anywhere. If you can't mentally grasp the concepts that strength training and hypertrophy training are two completely different things, you can wipe your ass with that stupid saying of power building, because that just shows you have no understanding what needs to be addressed first and what are you actually weak at, and you are just willing to waste time in a gym to get tired. Get the fuck out of here. Learn some basics on what kind of tool is required for what kind of outcome, and do with that. This is probably, I saved the best for last. Why do you advise muffins on your diet plan? I don't. If you get muffins on your diet plan, you consider yourself very lucky. Very few get to that point. And it's only to those who have already expressed commitment to what I ask them to do. And it's a tool to trigger a positive habit. And that's all there is. There is no magic about it. There is nothing super kind of intensive and this is going to help you grow or this is going to improve your performance before training and whatever the hell not. It's not. It's just something that you need to earn first. And if I have put it on your plan, that means you're either super consistent, very lean, or very strong and lean. So, yeah, it's not something that everyone gets, but pretty much my goal is for anyone I work with to get to a point where they can eat some kind of what I would call comfort food just to reward themselves for being goddamn fucking animals. So if you got there, realize that I probably value your commitment and amount of work you have put in, and enjoy the muffin. So, more about myself now. I'm going to reflect on everything I did. I did a blood test previously, and it was on 6th of January. Today is January 13th. So my hemoglobin came back unusually, well, I can't say unusually. It's lower than it usually is. But I do have a lot of cardio-based work now, so it's not really a surprise. And white blood cells, everything is fine. Kidney health is great, better than usual. I was feeling absolutely beat up when I was doing this blood test, and my EGFR is much higher. Not the highest it has been, but much higher when I feel like this. Usually it's in like low 60s. But now it's much higher than it has been before, which shows that me having at least 3 liters of fluid before I even train has definitely increased my ability to recover from those training sessions. And even then I still feel beat up. So my liver is great. Absolutely nothing is out of range, just because I'm taking very, very low amount of anything. I don't have diabetes. Cholesterol is within range with some things slightly off. So what I mean by that is blood test was taken after Christmas and New Year's. I knew it's going to be a bit of a hit and miss with cholesterol. So, and diet has been cleaned up straight afterwards. So I even ordered some krill oil, which I usually don't use, and add that in until I run out. Everything else is great, so all the vitamins, all the micronutrients are great. Thyroid is really good at the moment, which is good. And my estrogen is a bit high, but I can tolerate a lot of estrogen. My testosterone is 7 times above normal, which is thanks to my friends from back home for looking after me. And my prolactin is high, but thing is, it's always been high with me until I end up looking like a swollen bloody marshmallow. It's not going to be an issue. I'm not suicidal, depressed. I don't cry like a baby, and I really don't want to watch Bambi and Disney movies all day. So that's not an issue. I don't have teeth growing, and I'm definitely not milking. So all of these things that for someone else would be really scary, for me is just something that's not causing any kind of issues at all, ever. And as that's interesting, so my prolactin is very high, just from 200 mg's NPP. I did start at 300. It did make me feel weird. I had never tried NPP in my life, ever before. And so yeah, it just turns out I'm really sensitive to that. So I backed off from 300 down to 200 straight away after week 2. And I'm just going to stick to 200 until I run out, probably get rid of it very soon. But as we progress, because my training is getting more intense, I will increase my testosterone even higher, just because my SHBG was a bit low, so I really want to build it up. I actually want it high, so there is some reserves built up by the time I finish my course. And that's about it. So I'm not going to touch anything else. I'm gonna increase my testosterone slightly. I'm gonna keep my NPP at same, and see where we are at. Word of caution: testosterone makes you extremely confident, and sometimes make you make stupid decisions. Be aware of that. Don't try to ego lift. Sometimes you just kind of ignore pains, aches, and challenges that your structural components can hold. What I mean by that, if you go in a gym and you feel like you're still sore, don't try to hit some bloody PBs. And testosterone will be on your shoulder and whispering, "No, it's all fine, just grind through." No, fucking don't grind through. Be smarter than that. So yeah, my recovery, I actually went to my chiropractor this week, and I'm going to start doing massages straight after my chiropractor. I usually did it in a completely different place, a different person. I still do different person is doing my massages, but in a chiropractic clinic, they have God knows how many professionals there. So putting my joints back in place was extremely necessary this week. I was so goddamn beat up. I work at around 85% of my max this week, which is very challenging, whereas previous 10-11 weeks I wasn't really focusing on what kind of load I use. These weeks are focused on set weights for set sets, whereas before I was just building up my ability to tolerate long training without much of a rest in between, which was just timed sets without much of a notice of what load is on a bar, rather than how well I execute the movement and how well I tolerate going from one intense work into another with little to no rest in between. So progression, as it seems, is for next 2 more weeks. Yes, 2 more weeks I will be increasing my intensity. That being said, by end of this week, I pulled back on what was on my plan, just on the caution side, because I hadn't recovered yet. I just bought new mattress, just kind of sort out my sleep better, because the bigger I get, the harder it is to sleep. I have never used CPAP or something like that, you know, what all fat people use. I might have to end up going that route just to get some sleep in. I don't really fancy the idea, but if I'll have to, I'll have to. But that being said, this week I had to increase my intensity by the decisions made on my plan, but I pulled back and I used same load what I did last week for even less reps than I did last week, just to make sure that, like I said, that nasty testosterone on your shoulder don't go into your pussy, just lift more. No, I just felt if I would have done that, I would most likely ruin last 10 weeks of my work. And I strongly suggest to everyone else to be very cautious about what you do. So my decision today was my last training session of the week, was based on reflection of this bad boy. My resting heart rate was high, my heart rate variability was dead low, and my sleep was long, but my REM sleep was absolute trash. It's like 20 minutes or so. I don't think it was even that. Let me double check. Because of that, I knew my body is not ready to push harder. So I haven't done anything. 28 minutes of REM sleep, which is just ridiculous. Should be having around like 2 hours or so. So I slept quite a long time, but the time spent in the sleep patterns that actually improved my skill and my ability to do the work was trash. So I knew most likely my body is not ready to make an extra adaptations for me to push forward today. So on the safe side, I just did what I did last week and was extremely cautious on holding myself back. And if this continues, if I don't get enough sleep in terms of quality of sleep, not time is not the essence. Sometimes I can get like 5 hours sleep and get plenty of deep and REM sleep. But if this continues, I will be doing more extra rest days than I'm doing now. So I will be doing 2 training sessions, 2 rest days, 2 training sessions again, 2 rest days. Whereas about now I do 2 training sessions, 1 rest day, 2 training sessions, 2 rest days. And next week I also have planned to go away and switch off for 2 days. I will be on no social media or anything. I will be just chilling, complete blackout from everything around me, just to recuperate and get ready for another push. I got 2 more heavy weeks, then another deload week, and then final 5 weeks to round all this up and see what we can put together. So that all being said, I don't think there is anything else I kind of haven't covered yet. As always, drop your questions underneath, and if I can, I will answer them. If this is of any use, let me know. If you think I can improve something, maybe add something, maybe open up about things that are completely unrelated to training. Whatever the hell you need, whatever the hell you kind of find entertaining or interesting or valuable, or that you can kind of build your own good habits from, let me know. I enjoy doing these just for the sheer amount of questions I get. This is what helps me keep going. And if I can answer just even 1 question a week, that's my week made, because I don't do this for anything apart from just trying to make sure that people don't make the stupid mistakes I have made in the past. There's really no need for it. There's other things. So if you can get better without really sacrificing 15, 20 years of training like an idiot, that's my life made. On that note, I'll leave you and speak to you next week.